The concept of selling and leadership is a very interesting one, and one that I like to really demystify. The old paradigm of leadership was about giving orders, was about not listening to the other person. Similarly, selling was about persuading, was about pushing, was about creating tension, was about convincing someone to pay you for something that sometimes they didn't even need or wanted. And both leadership and selling, both processes have changed to a process where the mindset really is both win or win-win. And yes, it is possible. I remember when I disliked the thought of having to sell because I was equating selling with going around selling vacuums or selling encyclopedias. And there is nothing wrong with that, of course. That's a job. That's something that people do very well. Didn't have the guts or didn't know that in order to sell that way, I needed to be able to resist, not to resist, to be able to accept a lot of rejection. And obviously, the concept of selling in the old paradigm was that accept rejection because I was trying to sell, I was actually convincing someone to buy something that in many cases didn't want or didn't know that they needed it. Well, the new paradigm of solving problems, of offering solutions, requires, first of all, a lot of pre-work. And the pre-work consists on the ability to create that trust between the client and yourself, or myself in this case. And the only way to create that trust is by understanding deeply the needs of the other person. How could I solve the problem? How could I help them? Not so much solve the problem, but how could I offer an option? How could I offer a tool? How could I offer a solution that they might decide to use it as a strategy to achieve what they desire? So there's a big paradigm shift. And for anybody who will say, I don't like selling or I'm afraid of rejection, well, in this paradigm, there's no possibility of rejection because the process entails that we get to know the needs of that person very well, that we get to know what's the pain, what is it that they want to change, what is it that they want to do differently, what is it that they desire. And it requires time, it requires connection, it requires trust, it requires asking a lot of questions, it requires opening, it requires dialogue. And there's not for me to trying to sell, to push or to convince someone. It's not about convincing, it's not about pushing, it's about opening their way of looking at strategies to solve their situation or to get a better results. That's so much easier. There's no space for rejection as far as I understand, because it does take time, it does take desire to help the other person. It's about them, it's not about me.